Hello, everyone. It's been such a long time, but I am back. I'm not sure a lot of people even knew that I left, but I'm going to be trying to start something new called One Minute Baduk. The purpose of this is to kind of give people who don't have time to study the game, for long periods of time because they got things to do, the opportunity to just tune in for a quick 1 to 5 minute video where I go over some of the common patterns that appear in queue and lower down games, where essentially, people are trying to play like the pro, but they don't realize one thing, and then, that can cause like a big misplay and basically lose them the game. So the point of this is to allow people to be able to have the tools to kind of play like the pros and play the modern game of Go, and be able to do it in a manner that is successful. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into the first lecture of today. And basically, we're going to be going over this variation that we see very, very often in queue and lower down level games. So how do we get to this point? Basically, there is a very common variation. I'm just going to play it out for people who don't know, but white approaches. Black decides to play for the side. This is approaching a star point, by the way. Black decides to play for this side. White's like, all right, I'm going to take the open invitation into the corner, and then this joseki plays out. In Before AlphaGo and the revolution of the AI, Black would play here. And this is still completely playable today. I see so many people play this. I'm going to make a video on this variation as well. But with the introduction of AI, we learned about this move, and white plays here, and then black can play away. Now, what people fear, and what I see a lot in queue level games, is white cutting here. And, this happens all the time because in Q and lower down level games, there's a lot of aggressive players, and they want to fight. So they'll play this move, kind of cutting off, these two black stones from these three black stones, and then white's looking for a fight. So people are kind of scared to play this Joseki variation with move 15 here. So I'm going to give you the tools to be able to play this without having to worry about it. So when white plays 18, I've seen people respond like this, and kind of just let white take these two black stones and then kind of play for influence, using this thickness that they just developed. You can play like this. Pros do play like this, but only in very specific situations. If there's a lot of white, if the black stone is not here, there's a lot of white stones here, then essentially this might not be the right decision, because you can't do much with this thickness and you just gave up two black stones. So you have to be able to do something with this variation, if you're going to if you're actually going to, let white take these two stones, you're going to have to be able to do something with the thickness that you get from it. So if that's not an option for you, then you want to be able to capture these two white stones. So the best way to, go about doing that is to obviously hit the head of these two white stones, right? White can't do something like this because there's a famous Tasuji by playing 21, and then, white can't escape if white connects here. I think this is very self-explanatory, but this is, a pretty famous Tasuji. So white's only option is to play here, move 20. Now, I've seen Q players kind of do this, and Dom players as well. And this is the right idea, but there's one key component that players miss, and it comes back to haunt them. Because if you do not make this exchange first, you cannot capture these three white stones. So let's go back and let's say you play move 21, right? White can actually escape with these four stones now, and black, you're not going to be able to capture these stones. But what black can do is cut here, and white has to defend the corner, and then black gets, I think it's called a panuki, but basically, even if white extends out here, black just follows. And as black, you're getting this entire bottom side plus amazing thickness on the right-hand side. And white stones haven't done anything. It's just, flying out to the center, but it hasn't accomplished anything other than give black points down below and amazing thickness to work with on the right. So white cannot play like this. White cannot escape with these 3 stones. White has to make this exchange. And then once you do that, as black, you can come back and play a net like this. So why do some players not want to play this exchange or want to do this exchange? It's because if let's say that like none of this, I'm solely going to focus on just this side here. I'm just ignore all these. But when as black later on, you can play here as black, and what that does is it forces white to eventually have to respond to this move. So you're essentially getting a free move with 21. Because white has to be wary of, S5 here. So it's a free move on the right-hand side. But if you make this exchange, then this weakness here disappears. So as black, you may be like, oh, I don't want to make this exchange. But by making this exchange, only then can you capture this. Because let's say white goes out, you can just... white doesn't want to obviously go out this way because white would be dead. But white goes out here, black you can Atari, and then Atari again, and then white is essentially dead. I don't know, ladder or whatever this is, a net. White can't go anywhere because of this exchange only. Now, what happens if we don't make this exchange, when we don't do 21 for 22? If we just try to play like this, then white can do the same exact thing, and as black, when white goes out, you cannot capture these stones because if you try to ladder, then these 5 black stones are going to die. So you have to push here, and then you might want to try to do this, but white doesn't have to actually defend the corner this time because this is Atari for black. So then you have to go out, and then white can capture this black stone, and then as black, you cannot capture these white stones. So essentially, because there's an Atari here, or later on there's a double Atari, whatever. You just can't capture these stones, and white has got an even bigger corner now. It's captured your cutting stone, and as black, this group, you need to defend this group, or it's going to die as well. So essentially, you just created massive problems, and gave white. You created a massive problem on the outside, and you gave white a lot of territory on the inside. So this is terrible for black, all because you have not made this one exchange here. If we go all the way back, it's because you haven't made this one exchange. So in order to have the confidence to play this variation here, where you are playing move 15, you need to know that if you have an aggressive player do this to you, just you can play this, push once, hit these stones on the head, and then net it, and then these stones are essentially dead. That is the lesson for today. I'm going to be back with another lesson next time, but that is it for now. See you guys in the future.